All right, I think we can hear me out there, guys. Let's make sure, check. Yes, I think we're good. I'm not seeing any cameras turned on here. Ms. Randall, can you guys see me? I'll just double check that. I'm not seeing any output on mine.
Yes, we can see you. We can
Sounds
see
good,
you,
thank you.
Mr.
All right,
Murray.
good. Ms. Walker is not in yet. She's coming in right now. There we go. So we'll go ahead and get started.
Yes, she's on.
Open her mic. There we go. And we should see a double box in 1 second. Ms. Walker, are you with us now?
Well, let's hope so.
Yep, we hear your voice. We hear your voice. And you can turn your camera on, and we're ready to go.
Okay, my camera's on. You guys see me?
Okay, let me turn it on in 1 second. And there we go. It keeps turning off. There we are. We got you now. Okay, good. All right. So good. Hey, guys. So we're glad to be here. I am Professor Arthur Murray. Most of you guys know me. And we also have Miss Sandifer Walker. That was for you, Miss Walker. You're supposed to go in and say your name. And go for it. Okay. And now we have
Serbino Sandifer Walker, your journalist, professor, assistant dean, journalist, reporter, everything. You name it, I do it.
Good. So we're gonna have some fun today. And I think the journalism side and documentary side of you guys that are out there, this is something that you guys all want to do, something you are doing. And if you're needing a little bit more assistance, we're going to do this in an hour. We're going to set our clocks and our watches to an hour. This is pretty fast. And that's how news business is. News business is fast. It's one of those things where you get in and you may have to turn a package in 30 minutes. You may have to spend 5-10 minutes shooting your story. Then you got to go out and you have to put it on the air right away. Been there, done that. I did it in this business for nearly 30 years. I won't tell you how old I am, but I know I look young. And I'm on the campus, so I have my mask, guys. So I just FYI. So, and when we are telling stories, and I'm in my classroom, you can go right in there. You good? When I'm in my classroom, I am teaching journalism. I am teaching documentary. I am teaching videography. I'm teaching, how to tell stories. It's all about a story. Okay? We'll assign you guys to go out and shoot something. You bring it back. You write it. Okay? Well, you log it. Then you write it, and then you edit it, okay? And that's the process. So what we did today for you guys is we're going to do a live seminar for you guys on how to put together a story. We did some pre-work. This is a story that if you're in my class, you probably have already edited using this material before because I use it all the time. But I sent it to Ms. Sandifer Walker, and she put together a script for it, and she's going to walk you guys through that script process. So we've already done the shooting aspect of it. Okay, this is from the Jazz Festival, Monterey Jazz Festival that we had here, I think 2 years ago. And so I sat down and I interviewed the main guy, Derek Hodge, and interviewed a student. And there was another young lady we interviewed. She was over the Monterey Jazz Festival. So we did that and set everybody down. So I sent it to Miss Sandifer Walker. She put something together pretty fast, just like the real news. She did it really fast. Okay, and then what she's going to do, she's going to walk you guys through her script process. So what we do is once it's shot, you bring it back or you're out in the field. The next step is to log it and then to write the story, okay, for all you MMJs out there, and even if you're documentary, okay? So we're going to toss it to Ms. Sandifer Walker, and then I'm going to bring this script on board here. And I'm not going to share my screen that way. I'm going to share it this way. So Ms. Walker, if you want to just go ahead and do that, and then I would share it while you're talking there.
So thank you. That was an absolutely wonderful setup. I appreciate that. So as the journalist, as Professor Art said, when you're out in the field, you go out and you report the story. You gather the facts. So what I'm going to be talking to you about is the fact gathering process and the reporting process and the writing process. So as a broadcast journalist, what I would do, I would be assigned by an assignment editor. So if you're in a newsroom, you have an assignment editor, you have the news director, you have the producers, you have all of these different people. But now I am the broadcast journalist. I am the journalist. So the assignment editor has assigned me to do this particular story on the Monterey Jazz Festival. All right. And so now it's my job to actually start doing the research and the reporting. So I'm putting together all of my information about the Monterey Jazz Festival, and I have to learn something about the story before I can actually go out there and report it. And so what I do is I work with my photojournalist. We work together as a team, and we go out and we cover this event. And so once we get out there, we start to make decisions. Well, what is the most important thing that's happening at this event? So the photojournalist, or you could be the MMJ, which is the multimedia journalist, meaning you'll have to do everything. You will have to start capturing video immediately when you get there. So when you get to the scene, once you size it up, once you determine what's actually going on, then you have to start thinking about your shots, what you're going to do. So you're producing a package, and let me just tell you the characteristics of a package. So within a package, there's reporter narration, there's a stand-up, there's B-roll, there's a sound bite, there's natural sound. You've got to think about your shot quality. You've got to think about the editing quality and the story quality. So all those are elements in a package that you need to remember. Reporter track narration, reporter stand-up, B-roll, which is your video, sound bites, natural sound, graphics if you use graphics, the shot quality, the editing quality as well too, and then the story quality. Okay, so now that I've told you, I've given you a little package rubric. Now what I've done, once I'm out there and I've shot everything and I've interviewed my individuals, the people that are associated with this story. So I've talked to multiple people, and I'm getting comments from what we call the newsmakers. And so those newsmakers, that in broadcast terms is called a sound bite. So the sound bite is actually comments from the newsmaker. So the newsmaker is what's going to make this story. Okay, so I hope I'm being very clear with that. Okay, so now what I would do when I was out in the field, I would always be thinking in my head about how I'm going to write this story. From the very first moment when that assignment editor gives me that story, I'm already thinking in my mind what I'm going to do. So when I get to the scene, I'm thinking about an establishing shot. So I'm thinking about in sequence is how I'm thinking. What is the establishing shot for this event that I'm doing? So I start kind of like with a wide shot, I'm thinking. Then I'm thinking about, okay, well, I need a little medium shot of what's going on. And then I need a close-up shot and a tight shot. So I'm thinking in sequence as well, too. Well, my photojournalist, or I'm as the MMJ, I'm thinking in sequence of how all of this is going to come together. So once I've done all of that, now I'm going to write this piece. And like I said, out in the field, I'm thinking already about what I'm going to do, because generally I also have to do a stand-up. So the stand-up is actually the reporter out in the field making those last comments. So that stand-up could be in the middle, it could be a bridge, which is right in the middle of the package, or it could be at the end as well too. So a package is essentially the news reporter story in broadcast news. It doesn't necessarily have to be on TV anymore, because many people are producing packages on various platforms. So what you have now is, what you're looking at now is the script. I've actually written this script. Oops, excuse me about that. So I've written this script, and the script is going to contain all of the reporting that I've done for the day on this event. So let's just break down what I have here with my script. So first of all, when you look at the script, I've already told you about the components of a package. Remember, I told you reporter narration, reporter stand-up, B-roll, soundbite, natural sound, graphics, shot quality, editing, and story quality. All those things are very important that you need to know. So right here, the first thing you're going to see is my script. So I've written this script out. Sometimes you have to write it out in the field, and sometimes you have enough time to come back to the station to actually write it. So the first thing you're going to see with me is I love using natural sound, and I write to the video. And the words that you write are equally as important as the video. But as a broadcast journalist, you have to remember you write to the video. It's very important that you remember that. So what you see on my script, first of all, you see something called a slug. So you see the slug just simply means that's the title of the story. So this is the TSU Monterey Jazz Festival. Underneath that slug, now you're going to see something that says Nat Sound. And for our purposes, what Professor Art sent to me was a series of video that I had to look at, and I just simply labeled the video what he had actually labeled it, and it was B-roll 1. So what I want to do with this package is I want to start off with B-roll. I always like 2 to 3 seconds of Nat sound. So that Nat sound will be like 1, 2, And then my reporter track, my reporter narration will start. And so here's my reporter narration. So you'll hear the music, ba, 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 you know, what the music is sounding like. It's creating that ambient sound, that natural sound where we are out in the field. And then you'll hear my reporter voice comes in. Texas Southern University continues to be the crown jewel of all things jazz. So you'll hear that reporter voice narration coming in. Now it has joined forces with the Monterey Jazz Festival. So so you notice how I write. When you write in broadcast news, it's very different from writing a traditional print story. So when we write in broadcast news, it's very important you pay attention to how these sentences and how the story is actually structured. So the way we write in broadcast news is what we call as a conversational style. So a conversational style is like you're having a conversation with your mom, or you're having a conversation with your best friend, or you're sitting at the dinner table and you're talking. So you notice even also they're very short. So broadcast news sentences are short and to the point. So you notice Texas Southern University continues to be the crown jewel of all things jazz. Now it has joined forces with the Monterey Jazz Festival. Well, now the soundbite comes up. SOT means sound on tape. This is the soundbite from the newsmaker. And so just for teaching purposes here, I've showed you the newsmakers. Generally, what I will do is I will have the student, I have source one here. That is what I'm saying. If I'm editing it, or if the photojournalist is editing, I want them to know, okay, this is the very first soundbite that I want to be placed in this package. And I would like for you to go at 41 seconds in. So the in cue, the first three or four words that the newsmaker makes is what I want you to pick up on. So it was established in 1958, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then for the out cue, it's at 48 seconds, so the out cue, an essential component. So I only want from 41 seconds to 48 seconds to actually be on that sound. All right. So that's the first source. That's the newsmaker. That is, her comment. Okay. So now I want more natural sound. So it was labeled on the tape that Professor Art and I pulled together as B-roll 2. So to make sure that the photojournalist, or I know where to go, I know that video that I want is called B-roll 2. So I'll go there and I'll capture the B-roll that I want. So now there's going to be a second track. And when I say reporter narration or track, in the field, people call it track, but just for educational purposes, that simply means reporter narration track. So this is my track 2. So now my track 2 is jazz icon Derek Hodge is training the next generation. Notice that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 words. So broadcast news is very terse, very short, to the point, conversational. Generally, you use the subject, verb, object configuration, and we like to stick with present tense when possible. So a very conversational style, telling a story. Make sure your words kind of pop off of the page. So now we're going to go to his soundbite. This is source 2. This is Derek Hodge. And so here we go. Generally, what they will have is the source's last name, and then I want to take his sound at 14 seconds. Jazz is a word to me. And the last words that he says, and reflection of the time. So from 14 seconds to 39 seconds is where I want the second soundbite to come in this package. Okay, so now we're going to move on to reporter narration. This is track 3. So we had track 1, track 2, now we're at track 3. So track 3, you have Brian McKinney says the experience has changed his life forever. Again, notice the short conversational style that we strive for when we're putting together a package. And now we go into the final soundbite. This is soundbite from the newsmaker. And then just for educational purposes, I want to make sure you understand that this is source 3. I want the sound to be taken at 1 minute and 21 seconds. These types of things, those are the first 3 words, so I'll know exactly where to go. I need to go at 1 minute and 21 seconds into the tape to get exactly what I want, all right? And the last 3 words or 3 or 4 words at its 1 minute and 45 seconds. So that's the in cue and the out cue. So the in cue was these types of things. The out cue is and teach somebody else. All right. So that's the final soundbite. Now the reporter close. Generally, what I would do this out in the field. This would be the reporter stand up, but I'm not out in the field. So I'm just going to do another reporter track. All right. So reporter track simply means reporter narration. All right. So organizers are counting on this partnership to prepare the next generation of jazz musicians. And so that's the process that we use when we're putting together a news package. And a news package is just simply one type of formula that we use in broadcast news, or one type of script that we use in broadcast news, because there are others as well too, but we're focusing on the package. So to give you an overview, again, the package is just simply the news reporter's story that he or she goes out into the field, they report, they capture the B-roll, they capture the video, they interview the sources, they write all this information down, they're thinking while they're out there in the field, and as they're writing it down, they're also thinking about how am I going to put together a stand-up. And a stand-up is just simply the reporter out in the field saying, I'm Serbino Sandifer Walker reporting from downtown Houston, whatever it might be that I'm focusing on. And so that's a package. We won't talk about the other scripts, because the other scripts that are in broadcast news would be a voice on sound, of VO or VOSAT, voice over sound on tape, a VO, and a reader. Those are all scripts, but we're focusing right now on the package. And so what I did, this was, we put this together really quickly. I did a reporter narration actually on my smartphone right here. Right, using this and voice memo and my microphone. I actually have a microphone, and I just sent it to Professor Art. So now Professor Art is going to pick up and just show you the editing process based on what I've just told you, what we're trying to achieve with this package.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Ms. Serbino Walker, excellent as always. A lot of value for information, and it's, in a small, condensed kind of way, real quick, like news. I mean, that's how we do it. So, all right. So the next thing you guys are going to see is the editing process. So she's handed off the material to me. You guys saw the script process. I think our mic's still on. You can turn your mic down there, Ms. Walker, please. Okay. All right. So now the next process is going to be, what time is it? It is 3:18. Plenty of time. We're going to crank this package out like we're in the news business. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over, guys. You guys should see my screen now. And if Miss Randall's around, if you can just isolate me, just so I can see, so they can see me full screen. Okay, so you guys should see my screen now. All right, I've already taken the liberty of opening up the Premiere project, and I know it's kind of small, it is Premiere, but that's just the way it is right now. So I've already taken the liberty of opening a project, and really all that is just as soon as you turn Premiere on, it automatically gives you the ability to go in and say, okay, what do you want to name this package? You name it, and it automatically comes to this screen. All you have to do after that is go to File, New, Sequence, and then it brings up a sequence down here. I'm going to circle my mouse so you guys can see what I'm talking about. This little window down here is called your timeline, down here at the bottom, okay? Over here to the left, that is your project panel. That's where all your video goes, all your video assets. And I'm using Premiere because that's the majority of you guys probably use Premiere. And I'm going to send a poll out later on and see what you guys are using. If you're in my class, you're probably using Premiere, Final Cut Pro, iMovie, and whatever else, DaVinci Resolve. Okay, so I have like 4 different editing solutions in the class. But we're going to use Premiere for now. All right, so to the left, you're going to have the project panel. That's where all your assets go, all your video, all your audio. So I brought in Ms. Walker's audio right here. It says new recording. Okay, and all of the interviews in the B-roll, I labeled all that prior to. So I went in and I labeled it B-roll 1, B-roll 2, B-roll 3, B-roll 4. Organization is very important. So when you get into that role where you have to edit fast, you know where everything is. Okay? All right, so I know what Derek Hodge is because that's interview number 1, and then the other interview is in there. So we're ready to go. First thing you're going to hear is going to be her soundbite. Her track.
Track 1 in 3, 2, 1. Texas Southern University continues
Okay, let me bring that up a little bit.
Jewel of all things jazz. Now it has joined forces with the Monterey Jazz Festival.
Okay, all right, so that's what her track is going to sound like. But the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put in some natural sound. I edit the old school way. So what are we going to do? We're going to go in. I'm going to go with my video one. So let's go ahead and find some B-roll for that. Let's see what looks good. Something, how about something exciting right here? So we're going to go, let's see what we got here. Right there, we'll do that. Ba-da-da-pop-pop. Okay, here we go. Okay, so right there, I'm going to fade it down. So I'm going to bring my natural sound in. And let's go ahead and do this. And turn off all my other channels. All I want is my video and channel 2. All my natural sound goes on channel 2. Okay? So we're going to come in and we're going to lay that down. To bring things to the timeline, I don't drag and drop. I hit period. It makes it faster. To bring them to the timeline, period brings to the timeline. That's called the overlay. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and go ahead and make this bigger so you guys can see it. Okay, that's the first edit. There's a little box around it right here. That's because it's 720 and the video is actually in 720, but my timeline is 1080. I'll correct that at the end. Okay, so you'll see a little box around it. We'll correct that at the end. All right, so here we go. We have our first little net sound break. Okay, let me bring my audio up on that one. It sounds a little low. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's better. All right, so I'm going to come in, and now I'm going to fade that audio down. Let's go ahead and do that now, and then bring her audio in. Net sound. Okay, so I'm going to fade it down. I'm going to hit Command, hover over my mouse, hit click, Command left click, and I'm going to bring that audio down. I'm going to bring my soundbite, my track right here. Okay, there's my track is going right there. I'm going to go to her, Miss Walker's first track. Okay, there's track 1.
Track 1 in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, and you use your arrow keys to do that.
Texas Southern University continues to be the crown jewel of all things jazz. Now it has joined forces with the Monterey Jazz Festival.
Monterey Jazz Festival is out, so I'm going to go ahead and turn my audio 1 on, turn off my channel 2, and I'm going to lay that down by hitting the period key again, overlay. Okay, so here's what we got so far.
Texas Southern University continues to be the crown jewel of all things jazz. Now it has joined forces with the Monterey Jazz.
Here we go. Here's what we got.
Texas Southern University continues to be the crown jewel of all things jazz. Now it has joined forces with the Monterey Jazz Festival.
Okay, so there we go. We have the natural sound laid in. Now we brought in the track. Now we're going to find our first sound bite. Okay, so if we went back to that script earlier, the sound bite was, let's go back to her script right here so we can see it. Okay, so that's our first sound bite coming in. It is going to be at 141. I know that's Derek Hodge, so I'm going to go ahead and find that. I'm going to minimize this so you guys can see it. And here we go. I normally have two monitors.
Professor Art, it's the lady that's on the
first one?
The female. The first one is from the woman.
Got it.
The female. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Gotcha. We'll bring her up now. Let's find her. She's right here. Here she is right there. Okay. So we'll bring her in at 141. Oh, 41 seconds. 41 seconds. There we go.
Yes.
Part of that is that it was established.
Right there. It was established.
Part of that is that it was established in 1958 as a nonprofit organization with education and outreach as an essential component.
Okay, that's the LQ, as an essential component.
Essential component.
Okay, we're going to bring that in. We're going to go ahead and put our video 1 back on and audio 1. We're going to go ahead and hit our period, overlay, There it is. Here's what we got so far. Here we go again, guys. It's like building a house.
Texas Southern University continues to be the crown jewel of all things jazz. Now it has joined forces with the Monterey Jazz Festival.
It was established in 1958 as a nonprofit organization with education and outreach as an essential component.
As an essential component right there. We're going to add another nat sound break. I like to build my layers like a house. Okay, so we're going to put a little natural sound in there, and let's say Brian McKinney, jazz icon. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to do a little Derek Hodge in here. There's a really good shot I like using with him when he's playing the bass. Really good, really cool little spot here. It must be in B-roll. Let's see, B-roll 1. Okay, maybe it's B-roll 3. Here we go. Maybe it's that. No, not B-roll 3. B-roll 6. Let's try that one. Okay. Well, maybe not. Maybe I didn't bring that clip in. That's okay. We have one right here. We'll take that shot right there. Okay, we're going to leave enough for pad, and we're just going to put that back on channel 2. Turn off that channel 1. Going to lay it in there. So we're going to have her sound
as an essential component.
Boom, right there. Now we're going to put a natural break right there again. Fade it down. Sound bite's going to go right here. Okay, sound bite's going to go there. So we're going to go ahead and find Derek Hodge. We're keeping it fast, guys, keeping it fast. Let's see. Derek Hodge is at 14.
Is a word.
Jazz is a word, man.
The word. As only thing is, man, and jazz.
Okay, I always use my arrow left and right for my frame.
Jazz is a word to me, you know, because some of the forefathers of this music, they didn't even like that word.
We're waiting for the out cue and reflection of the time.
They're like, where did this come from? Even from Duke Ellington and them all. But needless to say, I think about what they called their music. And I feel it when I hear them, man. Duke Ellington and those guys call their music freedom. Music, I hear that freedom. And I think of that. I think of freedom, listening, and reflection of the time.
Okay, reflection of the time right there. That's the out cue. So we're going to go ahead and put that on our channel 1 again. Turn off channel 2. And we're going to go ahead and lay it down by hitting the overlay key again. There we go. All right. So here's what we got so far.
Jazz is a word to me.
Okay. And we're going to keep some of that audio at the bottom, but we're going to do that when we go back to edit. So what we're doing, guys, is called the A-roll process. We're actually building this story as we go. We're building it as we go, and we're going to come back in and fill in the holes. That's called the B-roll process. Okay. So A-roll is all of your audio, sound bites, track, laying it all down.
And reflection of the time.
Reflection of the time, okay. So we're going to put another natural sound break right there. And let's see what she has. So Brian McKinney, okay, so we're going to go with another student right here. I'm going to use a little something different right here. That's shot. Okay, good. Out. So I got my natural sound ready to go on channel 2. Go ahead and lay it in. And the next process, once again, we do the same thing. We're going to fade it down.
At a time.
Okay, right there, it's perfect. We're going to go and hit Command on the Mac and Control on the PC. Put another keyframe right there, and then we're going to fade it down. And our sound bite.
At a time.
Okay. Fade it down right there. So now her track is going to come in right here. And that track says, Brian McKinney says the experience has changed his life. Really short and sweet.
Monterey Jazz Festival.
It was established in 1958 as a nonprofit organization
okay, so we'll go back here and take a
with
look at
education and outreach as an essential component.
Jazz.
Okay. All right. So I actually forgot to put something in there. Derek Hodge is training the next generation. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to move that out of the way. We're going to do an insert. I'm going to show you guys how to do a quick insert here. We're going to insert her sound bite right there and then bring it in. Okay? Right there. So I'm going to go back and put her other track in there.
Track 2 in 3, 2, 1. Jazz icon Derek Hodge is training the next generation.
Okay, right there. All right, I'm going to insert that in by hitting the comma. Okay? All right? So that put the sound bite in there. And it moved everything else. But I'm going to go ahead and move this audio back over. Right there. And I'm going to move this over here.
An essential component.
Jazz icon Derek Hodge is training.
See how easy that was? I just inserted it. There was a bite that was missing. Put the sound bite in. Keep moving.
The next generation.
Jazz is a word.
Okay, there's Derek Hodge. Let's go back. Another nat sound break right here, and we're going to bring in her other track. Right there.
Track 3 in 3, 2, 1.
Right there.
Brian McKinney says the experience has changed his life forever.
Okay, great sound
Forever.
right there. Good track. Okay, we're going to go ahead and lay it down right there. Brian McKinney.
Brian McKinney says the experience has changed his life forever.
Okay, so we're going to bring in Brian McKinney right there, and Brian is these types of things. Good, okay, perfect. So we're going to go ahead and find Brian, go back to our soundbite, and there's Brian McKinney. And Brian McKinney starts at 121, and his NQ is these types of things.
So that means like so much because especially for like my
Hold down the shift to go
these
in
type of
10
experiences,
frames.
not everybody gets like these
Right there,
these type of things, these type of experiences, not everybody gets. And for somebody like Mr. Hodge to come out and work with the kids and work with us, teach us like, all of these things, like it really means something to like build our future. You know what I'm saying? Because one day I'm gonna remember this and I'm be like, wow, like I was able to play with Mr. Hodge and everything, looking at him on YouTube and everything. And now I really get to work with him and play with him.
Else.
And it's just beautiful. And I feel like I'm getting so much more knowledgeable. And like maybe one day I'll be able to be in his position and teach somebody else.
Okay, that's LQ, teach somebody else. And that's going to go on our channel 1. Go ahead and lay that in. Just make sure everything is good before I go any further. And always hit Command S when you're on Premiere. Okay, so let's go back and let's see what we got. Play it back from here. I always like to double check, make sure that was laid in right.
Brian McKinney says the experience has changed his life forever.
These type of things.
Okay, good. All right. So now we're ready for one more nat sound break.
To be in his position and teach somebody else.
Teach somebody else. Okay, we're going to put a nat sound break right there, and we're going to close it out with her track. Okay, and then we're going to come back and fill in the B-roll. Okay, another nat sound break. Let's see what we got here. How about another song? Let's see what we got. How about little drums there? Okay. Okay, sounds good to me. We're going to lay that in, and we're going to hit period. Bring it in. There we go. And one, we're going to put our...
Somebody else.
Good. Command. We're going to hit left click right here, and we're going to go ahead and add our last track. Okay. All right, and organizers are, let's see, number 4. Organizers are counting on this participant. Okay. All right, so we're going to go and bring our track in.
Track 4. Organizers are counting on this partnership to prepare the next generation of jazz musicians.
Okay, good. That's the LQ. All right, so we are at 1:34, almost perfect time. Almost, I mean, she couldn't have scripted any better. Your average time you're going to have on a news story is going to be 1:30, okay? So we'll go back in. We're going to save that. Listen to it.
Texas Southern.
Okay, so I'm going to bring her audio a little bit because she's a little bit low.
Texas Southern University continues to be the crown jewel of all things. Texas Southern University continues to be the crown.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and let that shot continue right there for time purposes. If we got some more time, we'll come back and clean it up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that audio down a little bit more. I like my audio to trail and to be there during the story. So you know it's there. You feel it and you can hear it. Here we go.
Texas Southern University continues to be the crown jewel of all things jazz. Now it has joined.
Okay, so that shot, I don't like that shot.
All things jazz.
All things jazz. I'll let another shot in there.
Now it has joined forces with the Monterey Jazz Festival.
It was established.
Okay, so I'm going to add a shot in there. Now we're going to go to the B-roll process. And let's go back, find some more B-roll here. Let's see what we got here. Jazz Fest B-roll number 4. That's him, Brian, playing the bass. Let's go here. Let me find out if I got another shot I can match it up. Okay. So I'm just going to take the video and not the audio just to cover that shot. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take my video off right there. Let me take my audio off and put my video in. Let's see if that shot of the bass.
Jazz. Now it has joined forces with the Monterey Jazz Festival.
It was established in 1958.
Okay, there we go. All right, now we're going to go in. We got our sound bite. Our audio sounds good. I might bring it up just a little bit.
As an essential component.
Okay, now I like to bring my audio in. We got about 5 minutes. I'm going to finish this up. I like to bring my audio in, guys, before you actually see the video. So I'm going to unlink. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to unlink. Okay, your audio and your video automatically comes in together. They join at the hip. They're married, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and slide this clip over. So that's my audio, and I'm going to barely let it come in a little bit. So I'm going to put a keyframe here and another keyframe there. Okay, so what you're going to hear it ramp up.
With education and outreach as an essential component.
Jazz icon Derek Hodge is.
Okay, so I want to keep that audio going right there.
Jazz icon Derek Hodge is training the next generation.
Jazz.
Okay, all right, so I'm going to let that flow a little bit more and fade that audio down while he's talking, just so it won't sound abrupt. Here we go. Fade it down.
Hodge is training the next generation.
Jazz.
Okay, I'm going to leave that shot there for now, but I'm going to come back and add a dissolve. You know what? I'm going to add it now. Why not? Why not? I don't like using dissolves, but that's a perfect place because this is kind of like a documentary / news story. So I'm going to go in and bring a dissolve right there. Just let it rest right there.
Next generation.
Jazz is a word to me.
Okay, and we're going to come back in and get rid of the box around there. Okay, we're almost done. Let's come back on. Let's see.
And reflection of the time.
Okay, same thing right here. We're going to unlink the audio and the video, and we're going to do what's called foreshadowing of the audio. It means you're going to hear the audio before you even see that video clip. It's not a lot pad right there, so we'll take it back as far as we can. And here we go. Here we go.
And reflection of the time.
And bring that up just a little bit so we can feel it.
Brian McKinney says the experience has changed his life forever.
These type of, okay. All right, we're going to shut up Brian right here just because she's referencing him. And let's see, Brian is the trombone player. Let's see if we can find Brian right here in the first B-roll shots we had. Let's see, maybe here. Nope. Okay. What I'm going to do is going to come back here. I'm going to lay it down. Then I'll come back and find that shot of Brian. But in the effort of time, we're just going to go ahead and move on.
But these type of
Okay. You can always, when you're doing news, you can always come back and clean it up, but you always want to have one pass If you only have 30 minutes to edit, I started editing at 3:30. Did I? Yeah, 3:20 or whatever, 3:25. So we're almost done.
I'll be able to be in his position and teach somebody else.
Okay, and so we're gonna come in, and I want to change that shot. Watch this. I want to change that shot. I'm going to add the shot of Derek in here. I'm going to end it with this because I like the way he plays this part right here.
That kind of good thing.
He's going to take that shot. I'm going to fade that shot all the way out to the end. You're going to see what I'm going to do here. Out. And I'm going to bring my audio in right here, guys, and we're going to go ahead and lay it down.
Adios.
Okay, here we go, and hit period once again. Oops, there's an endpoint right there. Okay.
Somebody else.
All right, so I'm going to unlink it, and you guys are going to hear what I'm going to do here. Unlink. Bring that audio in just a little bit right there. Add my keyframes. Fade it down. So you guys are going to hear it. Then I'm going to add a keyframe here because I know I'm going to fade it down with her track right there. Add a keyframe. Add another keyframe. Keyframes, guys, are really good when you want to add specific points. It's okay, like in Final Cut Pro and in iMovie, if you have the handles on the end, but you can't get precise with those because if you want to go in the middle, you got to use keyframes for your audio. So it's perfect for audio and even for video too.
And like maybe one day I'll be able to be in his position and teach somebody else.
Organizers are counting on this partnership to prepare the next generation of jazz musicians.
Okay, now watch this. Now I'm going to take that audio, I'm going to ramp it back up to end it on. Okay, and normally she would have a tag in there.
Counting on this partnership to prepare the next generation of jazz musicians.
I'm just going to add a little bit more extra in there because I like the way it feels on that. Okay, and then I'm just going to fade that out like a documentary. And I'm going to add a little black in there. Why not? Let's fade it to black too. Treat it like a documentary. Okay, take it back to the beginning. All right, so it is 3:43. There's some more things I could do to this to really tweak it, but if I had to put this on the air right now, it could. And how long have we been editing, Miss Sandifer Walker? How long? 30 minutes?
It's been like magic. So
15 minutes? Okay. So
yes.
I can put on air like this, but once again, we could clean it up if we want to. There's a lot of things we can do with it, but the basics of getting your story done, nat sound, faded down, sound bite or track, nat sound, faded down, sound bite or track, okay? So we got a minute here. Let's go ahead and we're going to play this. And you know what? Last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to Command A and get rid of that bar that you guys see at the top right there. I'm going to right click. And Premiere has a cool thing called set to frame size or scale to frame size. All right, so we're going to go there. We're going to scale the frame size. Voila, like magic. All of that black is gone as you guys saw over there. Okay? Now, once again, there's a lot I can do with this story, but in a short amount of time, you get the story on the air. We can massage it later, all right? How you doing, Miss Townsend? Miss Townsend just passing by, guys. She's speaking. I am. We're in the Comm week. We got an audience over there, guys. Miss Townsend like what we're doing over here. All right, so let's go ahead and look at it. I'm going to make this bigger, guys, so you guys can see it. And here we go.
Texas Southern University continues to be the crown jewel of all things jazz. Now it has joined forces with the Monterey Jazz Festival.
It was established in 1958 as a nonprofit organization with education and outreach as an essential component.
Jazz icon Derek Hodge is training the next generation.
Jazz is a word to me, you know, because some of the forefathers of this music, they didn't even like that word. They're like, where did it come from? Even from Duke Ellington and them all. But needless to say, I think about what they called their music. And I feel it when I hear them, man. Duke Ellington and those guys call their music freedom. Music, I hear that freedom. And I think of that. I think of freedom. listening and reflection of the time.
Brian McKinney says the experience has changed his life forever.
These type of things, these type of experiences, not everybody gets. And for somebody like Mr. Osh to come out and work with the kids and work with us, teach us all of these things, like, it really means something to, like, build our future. You know what I'm saying? Because one day I'm going to remember this and I'll be like, wow, like, I was able to play with Mr. Osh and everything, looking at him on YouTube and everything. And now I really get to work with him and play with him. And it's just beautiful. And I feel like I'm getting so much more knowledgeable. And, like, maybe one day I'll be able to be in his position and teach somebody else.
Organizers are counting on this partnership to prepare the next generation of jazz musicians.
And there you have it, guys. All done in about 15, 18 minutes, something like that. What do you think? We can bring Miss Walker back up on the screen.
That was awesome. That was awesome. You put the magic on it. And that was incredible, the time it took to get all that done. Just the editing makes a difference. So I hope they see it's important that the editing, the video, the writing, all of it comes together as one. And so you were able, it was like magic as watching you put all that together. It made a huge difference in helping us to be able to see the importance of editing properly. And editing, and you're editing in Premiere, right?
Yes, editing in Premiere. But we can do the same thing in Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve, iMovie. It's all the same.
So there's so many takeaways. What do you think is I think the biggest takeaway for me is just being able to put together something in that short amount of time and getting it done. And in the real world, that is required. Maybe my sound bites that I use are probably, if I was working at a station, I would cut them down some. Maybe it would have been 10 seconds. But I like giving people an opportunity to say what they need to say without cutting them off. Because sometimes when you're looking at the news report, it's like, okay, it seemed like it's something else that they should have said. But everybody said something and you walked away feeling like you understood what they wanted to say without wanting more. So that's why those sound bites were actually selected. And so we told a story using the video and using the words.
Exactly. And I think the most important thing here, and Aswanya just chimed in, he said something about, you can use keyframes in Final Cut. That is correct. You can use keyframes in any software, even iMovie. You can use keyframes. Keyframes is not a hidden thing, and we don't keep it on the wraps, at the editing factory, but it's there, yes. Keyframes are very, very valuable, and most of your professional editors will use them. Now, I do like the little sliding bars that you have. DaVinci Resolve has that. Final Cut Pro has that. So it depends on what you guys are using. But she's right. We told a story. And the most important thing to remember was she wrote to the video. It's kind of easy to write to the jazz things, but she wrote to the video. She wrote to the sound bites. She listened to the sound bites, and she wrote her story to that. It doesn't get any easier than that. If you listen to the sound bites and you watch your B-roll, you can write a story pretty fast. She wrote that story, I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. I had 20 minutes to edit. Guys, I'm telling you, that's the way I used to do it in the field. That's the way she used to do it. You get a story, you have to go shoot it. It might take you 30 minutes or so to shoot the story. You get back, it's 4 o'clock. You have a 5 o'clock deadline. What do? You get in. She goes to work. She buries her head down and starts working. And when she brings her head back up, she's handing me a script, and I'm putting it together, and we're making our deadline. And all that time, we started at 3 o'clock, and we've had time to talk to you guys, eat a sandwich, go get a donut, some water, and then our deadline still is not. We have 10 minutes for our live shot now. We have 10 minutes before our live shot, so we can set up. She can put her makeup on. I can get my lights out, make it look good. We're ready to go. And even if you're by yourself, if you're an MMJ, guess what? MMJs do live shots by themselves now. Not often, but they do them. You might get a little more time than that, but that's the beauty of it. So, like I tell my class, it's not complicated. The story process is not complicated if you follow the right formula, even on documentaries. The right formula is writing to your video. Like you said earlier, being conversational. You know, you don't have to try to guess the script. It's right there in front of you. You listen to it, you do a little research, but if you listen to those sound bites, it's telling you the story. If you listen to that B-roll, it's going to give you the natural sound. And like I tell my class all the time, we got 10 minutes. Guys, put some questions in there if you have any questions. But like I tell my class all the time, make me laugh, make me cry, make me care. That's from the writing, from the shooting, and the delivery of the story. That last bit of sound you heard when Derek Hodge was playing the bass, great little ending, just beautiful. You know, he's playing the bass. Then I brought it down, let her, you know, say her last track, then brought it back up. And normally, if she's live, there won't be a sig out. If she's not live, then there'll be a sig out, and she will say, Serbino, Sandifer, Walker, KTSU News. Okay, or KTSU 2 News. Okay, and that's it. So, any questions, guys? Let's go. We got Mr. Murray. Can you use one of those auto-tune microphones for my voice? And I sing a song. I need some voice assistance. Mr. Adams, come on, man.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I can use auto-tune for you, Mr. Adams. That is correct.
Oh my goodness.
Jonah Baker, you got any questions? I see Jonah Baker, one of my students. He's one of my really good students. Jonah has a great voice. Jonah gets this. Jonah goes in. He edits really well. He reports very well. So he's going to be one of the guys we're going to look at coming up in the future. Is going to rock this business.
He is. He definitely is going to do that, right? And there were so many components that I thought were so interesting with the editing process. And also, when we talked about the script initially, I used kind of a block script, but different newsrooms will do different things. And so with the script, it could be just a 2-column all the way down with some stations. So it varies. For those of you thinking about, do I need to use a script? Well, yes, you need to get in the habit of actually using the script, because that's your guide. That's the guide for the technical director. It's the guide for everybody who was putting this whole newscast together. So, but it was, we did it I like how we did it, Professor Art, because it was like we had to do it spontaneously. So you feel a lot of adrenaline and you feel like, oh my goodness, oh, can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? And with practice, you will be able to do it. That's what we do at KTSU 2. We give you that opportunity to have that practice to do that. In fact, Jonah, he said he's going to do a story today. He said he's ready. He says he's going to do a story. I said, okay, let's make it happen, Jonah. He's already said he's going to make it happen.
And guys, and that's the other component. I think it was labeled as KTSU 2 earlier. I think it was labeled as KTSU 2 presentation, right? That's it. KTSU 2 is there for you to practice. That is your training ground over at the radio station over here. Also on our digital media platforms. This is it. This is what we're teaching you guys. You're learning this in class, but you're applying it when you come to KTSU 2. Okay? Just like we put it together pretty quick, that's what we're teaching you guys, because we'll give you a day. You go out and shoot that story, and we want you to turn that story by the end of that day, you know, or the next day. Okay? It's possible. We're not doing anything that, you know, we haven't done. We're not telling you anything, you know, that we haven't done, haven't tried. Okay? We just did it right in front of your face. The only thing you didn't see was the shooting aspect of it. And to me, that's the easy part. Shooting is easy. I go out and I just follow the action and follow what's happening and, you know, shoot on my B-roll. I try to get my interview sometimes first if I can. Then I go get my B-roll because then I know what I need to shoot. But sometimes you go out and shoot your B-roll first, and then you come back and do your interviews, and then you know what to ask. You know, it just all depends on what feels good. So we got about 6 minutes. So any questions? Jonah said he'll send you 2. Just pick one, okay? And Mr. Adams is saying awesome presentation. Come on, guys. There's a poll that I put in there too as well. If you see that poll, it's asking you what editing software do you use? Premiere Pro, Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve, or iMovie? So we're here for the next 5 minutes. So Ms. Walker, what do you think when you're going out on a story and you want to tell that story the best way you can? Do you research before you go out there?
I do. I actually do. And I keep a list of sources, individuals that I know that can help me to tell the story. So I am working with my assignment editor. That person is very important in the newsroom because that person also helps me to track down sources. Well, if I'm doing this story at Texas Southern University, then I need to be able to identify those young students I want to be able to interview. So I already know if I'm coming to Texas Southern, I'm going to want to talk to some students because we're talking about a program, an educational program to help students. So I need for the university to help me to identify students, or I need to go to the music school or go to various locations, the jazz program, the jazz ensemble, and to be able to identify those students that I can talk to. So I'm always thinking about what I'm going to do. And when I get the assignment, I start shaping in my head exactly what I want to do and who I'm going to talk to. And I start painting a picture in my head about the story. Well, when I get there, it may totally change. Maybe I thought they were going to be inside, but maybe they're outside. Or maybe I thought they were going to be in some location. So I have to adapt. My husband said, like a Marine, you got to adapt. You know what I'm saying? So you have to adapt to the situation. So I adapt. And that's what I love about being a reporter. You get out there, it's exciting, and you have a deadline. You've got to be able to meet that deadline. You've got to be able to find the people. You can't come back to the station without a story. They're just not going to have it. So if I can't get that student, I've got to find somebody. I've got to find another source. I've got to find someone out there who can give me the information that I need. And that takes really knowing your community, knowing how to build resources, knowing how to talk to people to help you to get what you need. And generally, you build that credibility in the community and people will respect you and will help you in every possible way to tell a good job on the story. So yes, I do my research in advance and I build networks and resources and people who will see me as a credible individual and that will do a fair job on telling a story. Yes.
Okay, so we have 3 minutes. Students are saying they use Filmora. That is one program. That's another program. Final Cut. Soigné says Final Cut, Adobe, Premiere, DaVinci Resolve. Ms. Watson says, can we say them all? So I guess you use all of them as well. So the vote and the poll is that 67% of our students that are in attendance say that they use DaVinci Resolve. They're probably all of my students because I made them get it because that's what I wanted to use because it's free. It is free software and it does all the things that you need any one of those programs to do. Okay? So yeah, DaVinci Resolve is a really good program and it's free and it works on a PC and a Mac. PC and a Mac. So we're down to 2 minutes and guys, thank you for showing up and look on Fridays. I don't think we're going to do it this Friday, but on Fridays, join us on Facebook, KTSU2 Training. KTSU2 Training. We're not going to do this Friday because I know you guys are tired of looking at a monitor. We're tired. Everyone's tired because it's been a great, impactful comm week. So we just want to make sure that you guys do join, and we'll probably pick up again on next week on the KTSU Training. So this is what we do. This is what we do in those trainings. We sit down and we talk about editing from a documentary standpoint. We talk about shooting. And oh, by the way, if you guys notice, I didn't use my regular camera for that, for the B-roll. I shot everything with a gimbal, okay? Normally I shoot my wide, medium, and tight shots, but since this is a different kind of scenario, I use my little small pocket camera, little camera about that big. Your iPhone is bigger than this pocket camera that I use. So yes, you can shoot things with your iPhone and these little small cameras, GoPro cameras as well. So there's no excuse. All right, guys, it's time to wrap it up.
So
thank you guys for joining us.
I wanted to ask, how long, a lot of people are concerned, students want to learn how to be proficient at editing. How long does it take someone to become proficient at being a good editor?
The more you edit, the better you get. If you edit every day, every night, if you edit every day, if you practice basketball every day, you're going to get better. If you practice editing every day, you're going to get better. You're going to be able to do it with your eyes closed. I've been editing so long, I can edit with my eyes closed, and I started editing way before nonlinear editing. I was editing with tape to tape. So the more you do, so I don't know, I've been doing it for years, and I started in college, and I got pretty good in college. I got pretty good. When I got my first job, I was editing. I was editing. I thought I was editing pretty good, and I picked up some few tricks, and I got better. Okay? All right, guys, we got to close it up. And our next one, let's see who we're going to have coming up here next, and we're going to go ahead and pass the torch